So one thing, this guy likes to cite later rabbinic literature when it's convenient for him. Let's Kedushin, for example. Kedushin in the Babylonian Talmud says, "Kept alive for yourselves" in Numbers 31, men as slave, not for marriage. So according to this later rabbinic interpretation, no, they were not being taken as like these child brides. And again,
Well, well, well. Jones's incompetence and deception have reached new heights. Let's expose the angry bird for not only being deceptive, but ironically deceptive. First of all, when it came to Numbers 31 and the status of the Midianite virgin girls, I had cited a scholarly commentary in an earlier video which clearly explained that the girls were kept alive as slaves or wives. According to the JPS Torah commentary, these virgins included both children and adults, who were to be taken as slaves or wives. So as a matter of fact, Mr. Angry Bird, both opinions were mentioned by me. In the reaction video to the debate, I was going specifically by your own argument. You never questioned the status of the Midianite girls and implied that they were, quote, child brides.
I suspect he'll go to Numbers 31, where Moses tells Israel to kill all the Midianites, but keep the young girls for themselves. And I suspect Daniel will argue God was permitting Israelites to take virgin child brides. But scholars like Robert Alter and Paul Copan note this was not a command from God. The text says this is Moses acting on his own out of anger.
But the irony is that Jones is the one citing rabbinic opinions when it is, quote, convenient for him. Now we can see what a liar he really is. Notice that he did not provide the full reference from the Talmud.
Let's Kedushin, for example. Kedushin in the Babylonian Talmud says, "Kept alive for yourselves" in Numbers 31, men as slave, not for marriage.
Could you be more specific, Mr. Bird? Kedushin is a large section of the Talmud, spanning 4 chapters and dozens of subsections. I wonder why he hit the reference. Maybe it's because he was selectively quoting his own source, while accusing me of doing the same. Well, it's okay. I found the reference very easily. It is from Kedushin 78a. Notice that it says that some rabbis were of the opinion that the girls were to be taken as slaves and maid servants. Others, like Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov and Shimon ben Yohai, opined that they were taken as wives. Notice that it even says that girls who were not of age when they convert are permitted even to priests. Permitted for what? I'll give you a hint. It wasn't for adoption or playing tic-tac-toe with the children. Also, Jones once again demonstrated his incompetence and ignorance of biblical law. This idiot apparently forgot that the Bible permitted a person to have sex with slaves as well. So, even if the girls were taken as slaves and not as wives, intercourse would still have been permitted with them. Leviticus 19:20 and Exodus 21:7-8 permit sex with concubines. In fact, in Leviticus 19:20, which stipulates that there is no death penalty for having sex with someone else's slave woman, the same Hebrew word for slave is used as in Kedushin 78a for the Midianite girls. And note that the Zondervan Illustrated Bible Backgrounds commentary states that Exodus 21:7-8 even permitted a father to sell his daughter as a concubine as payment for debt. Tracy Lemos, a scholar that Jones tried to cite in his favor later in the live stream, but failed spectacularly, notes in her book Violence and Personhood in Ancient Israel and Comparative Context, page 160, that Exodus 21 sets no minimum age either for the sale of daughters into slavery or for marriage. She also comes to the horrible realization that we cannot avoid considering the prevalence of what we would call rape of not only physically mature adult women, but also of children and adolescents.
And again, the chapter never actually says wives. So it just says you keep them alive for yourself. The same language we see in Deuteronomy 20 when it says bring back the livestock and the people that have not been killed for yourselves. So, no.
So here again, Jones backtracks from his original argument. Damage control much? But as the JPS Torah commentary on Deuteronomy says, echoing the Talmud, Numbers 31 implies that the girls were distributed among the Israelites as domestic slaves, concubines, and in some cases wives. Notice also the footnote, which states that the killing of non-virgins was due to a special circumstance. So, as I previously said, Deuteronomy 20 doesn't apply to Numbers 31. And again, none of this proves that Moses acted on his own without God's endorsement. Now let's see how Jones responded to me on Exodus 4, where God is willing to kill Moses for some unknown sin. Compare this to Numbers 31. If what Moses did to the Midianites was not approved by God, then shouldn't God have reacted much more strongly, as he did in Exodus 4?
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, Exodus 4 is up to a lot of scholarly debate. Is it Moses isn't circumcised? Is it the son isn't circumcised? There is a lot of debate.
Oh, how fascinating. There is debate among scholars as to whose foreskin it was. You don't say.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
But seriously, is this guy for real? Who cares whose foreskin it was? Why would you even waste time talking about that? Unless it's just to act like you're knowledgeable. This is irrelevant to the topic. The point was that God was so angry at Moses that he wanted to kill him, and only a bloody piece of bodily tissue assuaged his anger.
But like William C. Propp argues for this. He proposes, for example, where is it here? That this is because Moses because he committed involuntary manslaughter in Egypt earlier. This is an expiation for his sin. So I would say it's two things. This is actually God is still angry about the fact that he committed murder. So it's kind of on relation, as William H.C. Propp notes. But also, I mean, he's supposed to go back and lead the people of Israel, and he's not partaking in the Abrahamic covenant. This is a very important issue. If he's going to be representing God, he needs to be an adequate representative of the line of Abraham. So,
if it was due to the sin of killing the Egyptian and of being a representative of God, it once again proves my point. Why was God so angry over the killing of one man, even though it was done to save another man, but didn't even say one word of condemnation for killing thousands of innocent people, including young male children? Again, it shows the hypocrisy of the biblical God. Jones just ignored this point. Alright, that's enough for now. We will continue to expose the Angry Bird's fallacious and deceptive claims in the next video, inshallah.